Hey, this is the GatorEX podcast, the podcast that happens every 2 weeks. It has a rotating cast with myself as the constant, and we're actually finally back with a real episode because earlier in May, I did a recap episode like animes do, and last week was just me all by myself, but hey, we're here with friends again.
Hello, I am Bait, once again, for the last time.
And hello, I am Blank. Last.
Blank. Exactly.
Like, that's how a villain does his intro, like, aha, hero, we've met again for the last time.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Maybe a Saturday morning cartoon hero.
I mean, I'd like to think I'd survive in Saturday mornings, but
like the cheesy 90s anime.
But those were the best. I would have had my own toy. It would have had a choking hazard sign on it. It would have had everything.
You would have had a dub on 4Kids.
Someone would have made it a bridge series. And then at that point, someone would have made it a bridge series about you.
Oh, okay. Good point.
Yeah, and then I'd have a 50-50 shot of either being legitimately terrifying, and that's the joke of being the straight man, or I'd become the biggest goofball, and everyone would love me, for once.
You'd get also a good theme song by 4Kids, too.
Oh my god.
Don't give it up, Zolo.
I could have had a cat. I mean, One Piece was a thing.
Okay, the whole reason why I didn't watch One Piece was because of that intro. And then, next thing I know, it's really popular in Japan, and it has over 800 episodes. So now I feel like I just missed the boat. I'm like, getting on.
Missed the boat? Sorry.
Oh, because they're pirates.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I could never really get into One Piece. I mean, definitely I watched Pokemon, obviously. That was really cool. I watched Fighting Foodons, which we all know about. And,
yes. All.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, actually it that I watched okay, Yu-Gi-Oh! 4Kids, that's right. But, okay. Here's an interesting point. I will defend the 4Kids dubs on the basis that they allowed anime to be easily introduced to young generations here in the US.
Even if it was literally trying to make what would eventually become known as the standard into baby formula.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only anime I don't remember being good was Pokemon. But then, like, Cartoon Network jacked that and, like, put it on their channel.
Yeah, now it's on Disney XD.
Wait, oh yeah, right. They did change that, didn't they? Well, it's not that bad, right? Is it, like, still the same cast, at least?
I haven't watched it. Well, actually, Ash hasn't been the same for, like, I think, like, since the Advance series.
I know that, but I'm saying, like, whatever Ash that's like, oh, well, if we were following Sun and Moon, and we haven't gone to Sword and Shield yet, are those characters still the same, or suddenly everyone is voiced by entirely different actors because it's across the world studios or something?
You know, from the way I see it, I think every new generation is like a soft reboot, because,
yeah, basically.
you gotta keep Ash 10.
Yep, gotta keep Ash 10, gotta keep Pikachu, defeatable.
Dude, at that point, that Pikachu should be the strongest Pikachu in Pokemon history, because, like, goddamn, all those XP points we gained over the years.
Is this a part where we now break down how every Pokemon series is its own part of the multiverse that just follows Ash as he gets to new regions?
No, now's where we sleep because we got Pokemon Sleep officially announced.
I still don't understand the concept of that. So we sleep to gain levels, but then we play to gain levels. But if it's easier to sleep than it is to play, why are we here?
Well, because you got to get up and go to work also.
But if I go to work to pay for Pokemon, but I already have Pokemon, meaning I no longer need to pay for it, why don't I just sleep until I am literally the king?
You know, you're right. I mean, there's got to be some limits on it. Because for one, I think it's only for Pokemon Go that you can, like, level up Pokemon or something like that. I haven't looked... it's not that I haven't looked into the details. It's that, like, they haven't announced a whole lot yet. But that's basically the gist of it.
Does this mean you can, like, bring your level 99 Blaziken and then, like, show some guy what happens when you mess with a fly girl? Just give him one of these?
Yeah.
Wait, so we can transfer Pokemon then?
Well, for one thing, like, you can transfer Pokemon from Go into Let's Go. Pokemon Home is, like, the next thing that's also coming out. And that's basically going to be the, what's the word? That one's basically going to be the new Pokemon Bank, I believe. Or it's going to be compatible with Pokemon Bank. So it's going to allow you to transfer Pokemon here and there and basically everywhere. Which, okay, here's the thing though. So Pokemon Bank is already $5 a year, right?
Yeah.
And Nintendo Switch Online costs, okay, we're in a family group, all of us together, and it costs us like $7 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to pay an additional fee for Pokemon Home, I think that's BS. If they haven't announced anything on that yet.
Oh yeah, plus they should fix their online problems now
Yeah.
before they introduce new ones.
Problems? What problems? Whatever could you be referring to?
Smash.
No. The Smash Online has been really iffy at best.
No, that's a power play. You gotta like play with the lag to your advantage.
Well, because I play a lot of fighting games, and when it gets very laggy, it's nearly impossible to do anything creative.
Oh,
cool.
I mean, exactly, because I think the one game where the speed is like 100% necessary, like your reaction time and your ability to like put out moves at a decent speed. And if it lags, then like it just 100% ruined.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember a while back when Street Fighter V first came out. Like, don't call me on this, but I think like the frame rate issues, like no 8 FPS, it was off by that much, and everyone was just complaining because this was just unbearable. Like, you couldn't do anything.
I can imagine. The only reason I could think of enjoying that is just the meme of JoJo of just being like, "How did you go to the under end of the screen?" or "How did I take damage?" and then just thinking, "Oh my god, the time skip." Am I suddenly realizing I took damage that I took 10 minutes ago? What's going on?
But point is, I mean, I don't know. I froze up. I'm about ready to go to sleep. Okay, here's the thing, though. So Pokemon Sleep, it's based off, like, your sleep and stuff, right? Okay, I'll tell you my horror story of this morning, or last night this morning. I slept, like, 4 hours last night, if at all. So, I've got insomnia. And I've got nerve damage that keeps me awake, or that just wakes me up. I mean, okay, I've got a terrible sleeping habit. I'll say it right here. Last night, I fell asleep at 2 o'clock, which is my usual sleep time. And I was awakened at 5 o'clock. I just woke up at 5 o'clock in pain. And so I just meandered around until like 6 o'clock. Or no, 6 o'clock, and then I fell asleep for another hour. And then, oh boy, it's time to go to work. So, here is the thing, though. On one hand, it could be like, oh man, I'm terrible at sleep. I'm going to do terribly with this game. Or, this is my motivator to fix everything and actually get a good night's sleep. Because if you sleep, you can Pokemon.
So now is finally your time for Sleepy Boy to get his nap.
Yes. Forget Pokemon Snap. It's all about Pokemon Nap. But anyway.
Pokemon go to the polls. Pokemon take a nap in your sack.
Oh, no. We got Pokemon Go, Pokemon Home, and Pokemon Sleep. That's exactly. I mean, I already used this joke too many times, but that's exactly what I love to do. Go home and sleep.
You have not played Persona. You do not understand the pain of. It seems like you're tired. Maybe you should go to sleep.
How does it feel like that cat took away an entire month of my in-game life?
Dang it! I need to play Persona.
I gave you a chance for Persona, and you rejected it.
Hang on, you got a PS4 handy?
I was thinking Persona 4. So
what's that one on?
Vita.
Vita? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Straight up on the Vita. That might be interesting. Because, from what you say, Persona is, not similar to Pokemon, but how would you say? I'll let you.
It is Pokemon, but in the sense that you also get the chance to enjoy an outside story. The whole Persona thing is like Pokemon. You go into a dungeon, you find random monsters with specific elemental weaknesses, you use an elemental weakness, you weaken it down, you take it onto your team, you use it for a while, and then to the next area, you either say, I'm going to keep the one I had before and level it up, or I'm just going to get an entirely new one from this region to go along. It's like going into town, picking up a Pidgey, using it to beat the grass, but then when you go to the next gym, you realize that it's all rock and ground types. You drop the Pidgey, pick up nearby Staryu, and then just go ham, and then keep doing it unless you really Pidgey to the highest level. Like on your first playthrough, you will have an entirely different roster than when you first started out as. But the reason why some people prefer it is because you also get the after things. Like not every day is just constant Pokemon battles. When you go to the next town, it's not immediately, oh, there's an evil team that's attacking the water supply. Stop them, go to the gym, then move on. Now you could say, hey, maybe I'll catch a coffee, go with my friends to watch a movie. Maybe I'll hit on some random girl. You never know what Persona could offer you.
Yeah, because when I've seen you play it, because you were showing us a while ago, there was that aspect of where you could basically just go around and just live a life, and it had that to it. And for one thing, I liked Sun and Moon for like, okay, obviously I like every Pokemon game, but Sun and Moon, there was one portion of it that I did like. I did like that it seemed like a little more like a living world. There seemed like there were more people just out and about doing their own thing, and you could talk to them and maybe help them out with what they're going through, or help them like solve some small little mystery. And while it does kind of come down to like battling Pokemon, I liked that you could just go around and do something. And again, from what I've seen in Persona, I think that'd be a cool idea to have something like that in Pokemon, just more so where you could just hang around and do whatever.
Yeah, Persona 5 gave me the fantasy of having both my school life and personal life balanced.
And somehow managing to have a side job and save the world all before you have to go to bed because your cat told you so.
I only went to the jobs for like the first week, and then for like the side missions, but then other than that, I never went back to work.
You only used it so that way you could get the information and then just bailed. So the rest of the year, all your coworkers are like, hey, where's that new guy who signed up for us? I don't know. I haven't seen him. He worked for like a week, asked me some questions, and then I've never seen him again.
No, what I wish he did was like hang out with like multiple people. Because like it feels like, hey, you want to hang out with this guy? Boy, you just hate this other guy, don't you? Huh, you won't see him for a couple of days. No, please, I need his confidant rank actually to go up.
Oh, so you want to hang out? Sorry, I'm only available on Saturdays and Sundays. So hopefully you don't have anything else important to do during those time frames.
That just sounds like real life.
And again, I feel like that's why Persona and other games do this, because it is the ideal, the ideal male fantasy of having to be the ideal fantasy of waking up not tired, going to school or work, leaving not so much tired, being able to have the time to hang out with your friends across town, actually enjoy your time together, go back home, have a good meal, maybe have a social interaction with a girl, and then go to sleep, and then repeat the process while also living out the fantasy of being a superhero.
Man, that is the true male fantasy. Just like you got me at waking up not feeling very tired. Sold. Let me get a PS4. But I realized we're not too far into this, but I realized before we started anything, the actual podcast, we're like, hey, we need display name, or not display names, but screen names for everything, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you are our third new guest, which by the way, thanks for welcoming him, everybody. We're like, hey, what if that's a conversation? What if we just come up with a name? And then we start a podcast introducing you as blank, and then that's it. So that'd be a good idea for discussion. So for the most part, listeners will know me. They'll know Bait to a degree. Okay, how about this one? What's your favorite Pokemon?
Dang. I don't have a favorite Pokemon. I have favorite Pokemon. Plural. Like,
okay.
Blaziken, Charmander. I kind of like Mewtwo more now since I saw the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie now. I feel like a newfound love for Mewtwo.
With them teeth.
End time.
We've had Mewtwo for like...
Honestly, mostly just fire Pokemon for me.
Fire. Pyromaniac. The Pyro from TF2.
I could never replace someone that great.
That great.
What? He was like one of the funniest people in the whole cast.
He is one of the funniest, but in terms of actual usage, he's one of the memeiest of the whole cast.
You could be funny and be memey and be awesome at the same time.
I was gonna say Blaze, but I feel like Blaze is too similar to Bait.
Okay, the way I see it is I want a name that's not equivalent to like having an anime profile picture, because then people won't take me serious.
Feel insulted, hacked.
Oh, but not you. You're pretty cool.
Okay, well, if anime isn't your thing, then what? Games? Movies?
That one podcast I went on probably way too long about Blade Runner 2049.
You kind of did.
Yeah, I did. But I bought it on Blu-ray the other day. That's just a random thing I want to bring up.
Was actually good?
Yeah, I liked it.
I found it pretty okay, although I found some plot points kind of irrelevant. And again, I'm more of I want to have a good, happy time with movies. Non-spoilers. I did not get that with this one. So if you watch it, it's at a risk. I don't know how you'll take it.
I mean, it's a bit, like, not too real. I kind of saw myself in the main character a bit, and that's not necessarily a good thing. But did you have a fun, happy time with Detective Pikachu?
I had a fun and happy time with Detective Pikachu, aside from plot holes.
For one thing, the plot holes, definitely. There's a lot that didn't make sense. But, like, I can see past that. I can forget it because, like, the rest of it's just so, like, just so fun.
learn how to learn when to talk, not talk over each other.
I know, but I mean that it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That
so,
happens in like
guys-
everything else.
Well,
Okay,
well,
Blanc.
I think one of the things in Detective Pikachu is like when they introduced I forgot the name, like the growth serum, like to make Pokemon bigger, but then they never bring it up back again.
Oh, the Torterra.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, when it got really big, like the serum itself, like they never bring it up again.
Well, why would they bring it up again? There's no reason to ever use it.
Maybe in the sequel. I don't know. I think it just mostly made like an interesting action sequence.
Even if you did question, like, how did this go about without anyone noticing?
But okay, here's one thing. On one hand, like if Torterra are that big, like they're probably just gonna need to just sleep all the time in order to gain like have any energy at all.
I'm just left with the question of, as they grew, did they just eat enough dirt, and that's why it looks like the mountains are natural, because they literally just ate the parts they were.
Do they? No, they don't eat dirt though. No, because a plant wouldn't eat dirt. Plants don't eat dirt. Plants eat sun.
No, they photosynthesize.
Well, that's what I said. They eat sun. Plants eat sun.
Well, I guess. Well, they also need other things. They need water.
Well, yeah.
They need the nutrients from the dirt.
But yeah, they drink sun. I mean, they drink water.
But also at the same time, we don't know that they don't eat. You could give them Pokepuffs and other things.
Yeah, because they're part turtle. So, but then turtles don't eat dirt.
It's a plant turtle. Who knows what it could eat?
Okay, here's the thing. You said also plants take nutrients from the dirt. What if they do just straight eat the dirt?
Like, just take
they
the
don't
nutrient.
eat the dirt. They get nutrients from the dirt.
Well, I mean, if a plant has a mouth, don't you think it would just eat the dirt?
No, they absorb. They do it through the roots.
Well, yeah, but like if a plant had a mouth, couldn't it just like eat the dirt instead of like taking it in through the roots?
Oh, okay. This might be a bad comparison, but think of it this way: it's kind of like when you have a cup and you fill it with water. You don't eat the cup.
Wait, you're not supposed to?
Well, how about this way? Okay, no, an orange has vitamin C. Like you can't like suck out the vitamin C from the orange, so you eat the whole orange.
Right,
I
but you
think-
leave the peel alone. You don't eat the peel.
Well, yeah, but
Well, that's more odd. But to a plant, the peel is perfectly okay to be eatable.
for the plant, wouldn't like the rest of the dirt be the orange, and then the vitamins inside be there? Like,
Yeah, so it just eats everything wholesale.
yeah, because it's a plant with a mouth.
If anything, it'll just like dig itself into the dirt and then just like absorb everything and then make it. Because as it grows, I doubt it's going to be able to make enough dirt and rocks and ground so that way it could hold all of the mountain ranges, right? Like, it's not like it grows, but if it grows like 20 feet, it's going to also get 20 feet worth of good soil and grass so that way it could have the mountain on its back, right? You imagine that it kind of gains it as it goes along. So maybe here it kind of just digs itself into the ground and then puts it onto its back and then carries it along with it.
Isn't there a Pokemon entry that says if it's like an omnivore or a herbivore or something like that?
Which one? For Torterra
I-
specifically?
Yeah.
I don't know. We could look
So
that
we
up.
can at least have like groundwork for this argument. I think it's kind of weird if it like eats plants, but like it has plants on its back. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, though. Is Torterra like more tortoise or plant? Because
I think that's with most things where we just don't know.
I'm gonna go with animal because it's tortoise.
oh, hey, weird random things. The Pokedex entry from like Pokemon Y says ancient people imagined that beneath the ground a giant Torterra dwelled.
So Torterra is at the center of the earth.
It's the whole thing of like, you know how like it zooms out and it turns out the whole earth is on the back of a turtle, which is on top of an elephant, which is like standing on a dolphin.
I saw that picture once, but I wasn't sure how to feel about it.
Rather that than it being flat, because
Yeah.
turtles ain't flat.
Or,
Like from the
they're-
other side they are.
Well, they're not a disc.
They could be used as a disc.
All right, here's the thing though, with the flat Earth,
I
right?
think the term I'm looking for is frisbee.
With like the flat Earth model, how thin is like the flat Earth?
I think it's like straight like a coin.
It's got to have some depth to it, like the flat Earth model.
I just don't look at it. It is gonna hurt my brain how
Yeah.
people think it looks like that.
Are we able to say that, or are we suddenly angering someone?
No,
Okay, flat Earth community check. All right, GatorEX only. Let's see. 500
No.
more communities left to go to piss off.
I don't know. I've angered
No,
the
please.
furries already.
Furries.
Wait,
all right.
How did you
400,
anger the
90.
furries?
Well, okay, so on the top 5
Hey, man,
hottest
feelings for
Pokemon,
life.
Oh,
I did not include Gardevoir. Oh, also, here's the thing. All the Arceus fans or whatever, as I said, hey, yeah, Arceus isn't the true god or whatever, or Arceus isn't the big god in Pokemon.
I mean, I guess.
Which-
By this point, I'm pretty sure the lore and everything else kind of contradicts itself and everything.
Oh yeah, no, Pokemon lore doesn't make sense at all.
I am proud of you for angering others, but I'm also concerned for your well-being. Good job, son. You do me proud.
I'm not super controversial. I try not to be. I'm the equivalent of like the little kid who says very, very slightly edgy things. And then as soon as someone's like says something, I'm like, oh, I mean, I was just kidding.
It was just a joke, bro. Don't take me seriously.
It's just a prank. I mean, I'm not as bad as like the just a pranks. I mean, I get there.
Yeah, those were pretty bad. Either way, at least like, I'm not condoning you going out and actively angering people, but at the very least, there may be some truth to what you're saying. I don't know what you've actually argued about, so who knows? Time will tell.
I mean, it was mostly all jokes. Like, okay, for one thing, I think you can make fun of what? Okay, you can't make fun of flat earthers specifically, but you can make fun of the Earth being flat in general. And then, okay, furries aren't like actually mad at me. You know, it was basically just like my most popular videos are probably popular because there's controversy. Like the whole thing, like, oh yeah, the top 5 hottest Pokemon. Just daily comments on like, hey, you left out this Pokemon. It's like, of course I did. It's my list.
Wait, you tried asserting that you have an opinion on the internet? How could you? I thought you knew better.
I know. You tried to give your opinion. Well, okay, that's like all this podcast is. It's just like an hour's worth of opinion.
And then someone will get angry that you gave your opinion. And then you're like, you had to sit through like 30 minutes of me giving my opinion on other things to get here. Thank you for the views, but sorry that it's apparently not to your liking.
If you've made it this far and you have an opinion, leave a like and comment. And actually, for one thing, I actually love reading comments. Like, despite the fact that I say when I wake up in the morning from pain, and then I get a comment that says, "Where's Gardevoir?" Like, I actually don't mind that because it's like, oh wow, so this is a real person somewhere in the world taking time to comment.
Asking, where's my Gardevoir pick so I could see if there's anything new on the web.
But then they're like actual constructive stuff. But that's always cool.
Okay, so kind of going off topic and going on to that. Why did you not add Gardevoir then?
Here's what I say. Gardevoir is number 7. I think my issue is that I make top 5s rather than top 10s. Well, okay, I used Gardevoir in the thumbnail. Okay, for one thing, I think I did that so that I could not have like spoilers exactly.
Okay.
In a way. But yeah, that's basically it. Gardevoir is number 7. I need to remake this list though. Once Sword and Shield come out, I'm gonna remake it as a top 10. And also, I'm sorry for a Blank or Blaze or whoever we call you. You're just sitting there listening to us talk about the degeneracy.
What do you wish to contribute to the heresy?
That's all it is. It's all just memes. Pokemon Sword and Shield. We should be getting a direct next week. Or we are getting a direct next week. Confirmed.
But will it be a good direct?
I think, well, it's going to be a Pokemon-centered direct. I think mostly they're just probably, well, that's a weird thing, though. Would they show, like, just one trailer for a direct? They'd probably, stand there and say, like, oh, yeah, it includes this feature, it includes that feature, and we've been working on this and that for a while. So,
if anything, I'm just kind of hoping for either an actual, like, do we know if it's getting an actual release date or not?
There's no solid release date, no. Just that it's coming out 2019.
Then at the very least, hoping for some reveal on either on, or if there's going to be any changes. Because again, I was severely disappointed in Sun and Moon and Sun and Moon 2 Electric Boogaloo. So I am hoping that there's something to bring me back into it. Was that the snort of someone thinking they're better than me? Or having an opinion?
No, that's a snort with someone with allergy.
I feel it. I'm dying over here as well.
Opinion.
Yeah, I got it.
I did like the Hawaiian vibe from Sun and Moon, though. It was pretty nice to have like a completely different Pokemon experience.
Oh yeah,
but I do admit they kind of do need to like change the formula up, because like playing Omega Ruby then playing Sun, it just felt like I was playing the same game but with like a different skin.
I feel like we have to like add to that, because whenever someone says we got to change the formula, they usually either completely radically change it or they don't change it at all and say like it's like when a video game developer says we're going back to our roots, like that game that came out 10 years ago, we're going to go back to that, we're going to bring back what people loved, and then they completely ignore it. Rest in peace, Dead Rising. You were one of my best friends, and now I don't even know what you are anymore.
For Pokemon, though, I that is always a discussion. What should they do? I feel like for one thing with Sun and Moon, doing the island trials the way they did, that was a decent way to mix things up. I don't want it to stay that way in Sword and Shield, and I think we're going back to gyms for Sword and Shield. I hate to say the whole thing of like, oh yeah, it's just too handholdy. Oh, it's this and that, because everybody says that.
I feel like it has some proven to it. Like, again, just the bare essence of 20 years ago when Pokemon started out, no one knew what anything was weak to until you actually tried it out. But now all you have to do is fight a Pokemon once, not even get its weakness, just fight it once, and the next time you fight it, you will immediately have a little tag on any moves that may be like weak to it or effective against it. Like, I remember I once fought a Salazzle and I only had a Pikachu that you could have gotten early on, and I beat it, but I only used electric type moves. But then the next time I fought it, or either Salazzle or Salandit, but either way, the next time I fought it, it immediately told me, oh, you have a water type move now. That's super effective against it. Oh, this beats Psychic, so effective against that. It immediately told me, even though I never really tried testing it out. And I feel like that's hand-holding.
Well, I never really paid attention to that. The only status effect change I was interested in was turning their HP bar to 0.
For me, it's more so the let me get started, let me get out and go somewhere. I enjoy there being some story in Pokemon games, but I think it's best when it's introduced a little later. With like Black and White, right? You're kind of given your Pokemon and your rivals and whatever, and you actually kind of get your Pokemon and get to your first battle pretty quickly. And there's still the whole typical like, oh, you gotta do this, and here's how you catch Pokemon, here's what you do, stepping onto this route, and here's your Pokedex. But granted, like by the time you get to like the very next city, you're hit with some story with Team Plasma. I feel like that works out better because with Sun and Moon, the game starts off with a cutscene of Lily. And then it starts you off in your journey. You're like, oh, or not even your journey, but it starts you off, this is your name.
If I remember correctly, it's you wake up, your mom tells you to get the hell out of her house. You walk a little bit, you see Lily, you save Nebby from falling into a bridge. You don't really battle. You're just like, oh, I gotta save this Pokemon from falling off a bridge until Mystical, Magical, Legendary comes out and saves you. Then you're given your starter, and then you're taught how to fight. But to go from there to there, which is one reason why people didn't like it, was because the soft relock of, oh, maybe I want a Pokemon with this gender or this special ability. You had to sit through that entire 30-minute intro before you learned how to really run, and you had to wait until you finally got your Pokemon, and then either say, this is what I want or not, and then reset, go back. Whereas Black and White kind of did it better, where it was just watch the cutscene, open the box, then have that short pause where you could save the game, and then choose your starter, and then you could just going back and then immediately try for it. But that was a lot of story for a short amount of time. And with Black and White, it also did it better because after getting your Pokemon and having at least 2 battles with your rivals, you go to the next town, you learn about healing centers and Team Plasma, but then immediately it's the gym. You do a small side mission of learning how to use some certain moves. You get another Pokemon that could help you with type advantage since you start out with a weak Pokemon and then you get one that evens the battlefield, and then it's off. It all just kind of streamlines everything in a way that's not making it easy, but just kind of pushes you towards everything all at once.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Black and White were some of the really good games. And again, unfortunately, people are like, oh, Black and White, oh, the bad games, oh Black, this and that. I will take Black and White over Sun and Moon any day. Even, Gen 6. I really enjoyed Gen 6, but I still like Gen 5 better. We're the Gen 5 fanboys, I guess.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like they could improve on the gameplay aspect because, me personally, I put a lot of RPGs, and honestly, at the end of the day, a lot of them felt the same, just gameplay wise. But then I, played Persona 5, and I just felt so different from a lot of other RPGs because it felt more engaging. Because honestly, it just felt like a better experience. Because with I don't want to bag on the presentation and the graphics because I am comparing a PS4 game to a 3DS game. Yeah, I just felt like the moves could have been more flashy when a Pokemon does stuff.
That's what people have been arguing for years because a Pokemon will headbutt, but then that headbutt animation will go into saying it used bite or it used tackle or it used plasma cannon, but no matter what, that Pokemon will always just headbutt.
Yeah,
it just needs to have a better presentation of the moves.
Yeah, and that definitely is the thing. I saw this video a while ago, and I don't know if I sent it to you guys. I probably should, but it was saying something like that. A lot of people will say things like, oh, they need to make new models for the Pokemon. They've been the same and whatnot. But people don't realize the models are fine. What they want is different animations. And I'll say this at least. With 3D animation, the model and the animation are separate, basically. It's basically a thing that you can build a model, and then after you rig it, it can basically do whatever you want. You can not hand animate it, but you can animate it from there. Or if you have like pre-done animation, like say you made some animation somewhere else, right, and you save that animation file, you can add it to the model and it will act that out. Or if you have some animation file that's like from motion capture, right, you can load that onto the model and then the model will act that out. So it's the sense of like they have these Pokemon models already made, already rigged, and so making more animations would be fine because they're basically using the same models in each Pokemon game. Just that they're being like, just that in the newer games, they're put out like at higher resolutions just because they can render them out at higher resolutions because it's, you know, you're going from like the 2DS, which is a screen the size of a business card, to the Switch, which is just much better. So they're using the same models, so you could definitely argue they should use their time to make those animations. I definitely think they could, but if you want something that's like unique animations for each individual Pokemon, that's already more than 800. Each Pokemon already has some form of unique animation. And like I said, there's this video that I saw that's more in-depth on it because these people know more about animation than I do, but it's really interesting, and so it's a thing of like, it would be a lot of work. But for one thing, I think that maybe making the moves themselves a little more flashy, right? Because you can have unique animation for a move because you're like that move you're gonna be able to use on multiple Pokemon, right? Like Flamethrower. So many people use Flamethrower, and it's already looks kind of neat. But if you could make that like maybe a little flashier, I mean, I don't know exactly.
Going into Persona because I feel Persona will. Not trying to cause a controversy, but Persona kind of does the whole Pokemon thing better. Mm-hmm. When you summon out a Persona, you don't have it out naturally all the time. You just have the main player character. And even then, they'll have like idle animations. Like your guy will like be crouched to the ground as if ready. But then while you're setting up an attack, he'll stand up as if he's about to attack. Or if you go into a sub-menu that allows you other options, then it'll show like him putting his hand on his chin going like, what should I do right now? And then when he finally does summon a Persona, technically it only just stands still and just does the floating behind you like a stand. And it only technically has two animations, when it's doing an attack or when it's doing a whole status. Like if you have one that looks like a regular dude, if it attacks, it'll just do like an arm chopping animation. Or if it's doing a buff, it's just or healing, it'll just do like a twirl and then just raise its hand up. It only does that, but then after it does the move, it goes away. So you don't really notice it. What you're really noticing is like the buff or attack that you're focusing on. Because then that goes away, then you move on to the next team member and then seeing from there. But then along with that, there's also like statuses and debuffs on your team. Like if my guy took a lot of damage and he's about to die, like he only has 1 HP, he'll droop down and look like he's about to fall over. If he's asleep or if he's like in confusion, his head will start lolling around as if he's literally dazed. Or if he's poisoned, they'll grip their side and do the whole like, I'm going to throw up at any second. So like it's having the same model, but having all these smaller things. And that's what kind of people want. Because if my Pikachu gets poisoned or paralyzed, he's just going to stand there. The only reason you'll know is you'll see the little purple bubbles or the electro cage saying, oh, you are stunned, you are poisoned. If it's about to die, it doesn't suddenly start dropping its tail or lowering its head. Even if my Pikachu is at 100% health or at 1 health, he will still stand up straight as if he's ready to fight at any second. If he takes recoil, he'll do that whole little step back, but then he'll just go back to looking the same as normal. There's like no change.
And again, you know, that was something kind of mentioned in that video that I was referencing. I don't know, I feel bad because it's like, oh yeah, you know, there's this video, but you should go watch it because I can't really explain everything that they're doing. But yeah, for the most part, that is it. But at the same time, that does make sense because, well, you say that like these extra animations of like of the characters showing that they've taken some damage. You said that's only applied to the Persona user, like the people using the Persona?
Because like that's the thing you're going to be looking at. Like the Personas themselves, like I said, only have 3 animations. When they're standing idle, when they're doing an attack, or when they're doing like a passive buff or anything. But because you only see them for like a split second of you actually doing the move, you could be like, oh, even if I have to see that arm chop 1,000 times, that arm chop only takes like 1 second of him doing it. After that, it's just like, oh, it's gone. But then whatever happens to my main guy is what you're really focusing on. Like they'll be struck with fire, they'll be struck with lightning, and then seeing them react to it is kind of what makes it potent. Because that's your character, not oh, my persona took damage and now I have to worry about that.
Okay.
Whereas with Pokemon, even if your fight lasts 5 seconds or 5 minutes, like against the Elite Four, you're looking at that Pokemon throughout the entire fight, and that just kind of gets stale and boring.
Yeah.
That's what I think people turn off the animations, because they know what animation is going to be done, so they may as well get the fight over with faster.
And so in Persona, of the characters themselves, how many are there in the game?
Let's go.
Well, okay, like a rough estimate, maybe.
About like, including your character, there's 8 player characters and then 1 sub character that kind of helps you from the sideline.
Are there like other like enemies that basically do the same thing?
Every single enemy persona that you face, not including bosses, have the whole, oh, they've been hit by a status effect, 1 attack, 1 idle, 1 buff, and then them drooping down as if they're about to die, and then if they've been hit with a status. Like if they fall asleep, they will literally like lie down and sleep. If they're paralyzed, they will just stay in one prone position. And I think there's about maybe 200 to 300 personas in Persona 5
Okay.
of just anything.
But then again, compare that to over 800 Pokemon. And then
But do you ever actually find,
the years though?
not to mention, I don't think I'm asked, or no, wait, yeah, technically, yeah. I was going to say, even in Sword and Shield, you don't necessarily see every Pokemon from every generation in this game. But then I was like, oh, well, at some point someone's going to start either transferring them over from Pokebank or something. So yeah, eventually you need to focus on all. How many Pokemon are there now?
currently there are like 805 with the Sword and Shield starters.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Wow.
So we're going to get close to potentially 900 by the time the game is done.
I mean, it's rough, but at the same time, I feel depending on when they started, they could probably do it.
Yeah,
Because how long ago did Sun and Moon come out?
2016.
And Sun and Moon 2 Electric Boogaloo, even though it did add some things, was essentially just using the same game assets, adding some new ones, and then just like re-releasing it. So I don't really think that took the main team's main efforts. It was just like, if it was nowadays, it'd be like giving your B team the game and saying, okay, make a new one with the same assets. It's the Apollo 76 if it didn't suck completely. We're going to give you the same game with the same assets. You just have free reign to make some new ones. We're giving you the tools and just hope it comes out good. So while that's going on, you could give the A team the whole, okay, work on these animations, work on this new setting, work on making the Switch work. And I imagine they've had this planned probably since either after Sun and Moon came out or at the very least, like after Sun and Moon 2. So at the very least, I'm going to give them 2 years.
Well, definitely like before Sun and Moon like officially released, I'd assume.
Like they just have an entire boardroom of the next 3 Pokemon games. They focus on one, but then just always slowly work on the others.
Basically, I think, because when X and Y came out, there was like a little reference to Sun and Moon. So X and Y came out 2013, 3 years before Sun and Moon. So definitely at least 3 years. There's at least 3 years worth of a development cycle, I suppose, for Pokemon games.
Okay, so I'm hoping we get something good with that at the very least.
But I mean, definitely we'll just have to wait and see. Again, there's a direct next week, so hopefully we'll get to see a little more of the battles. And actually, what do you guys want to? That's what we'll, I guess, close things off with. What do you want to see from the direct?
A firefighting Pokemon.
Oh my god! After everything that's happened, do you want another one?
Yes.
What? Not even the starter, just like a separate one.
No, it has to be the starter. It has to. Just to fulfill the prophecy of like it happening again.
Fulfill your destiny.
If anything, I feel like it could work for once, if only because we've had the joke of, okay, when we got Delphox, we were expecting a firefighting, and we're at least surprised that it was fire psychic. And as disappointing as Incineroar is to me,
Hey, no, Incineroar is the bomb.
he is a bomb, a failure.
No, man.
At least in my eyes. At least he's fire dark, as much as I disagree with it. He's fire dark, so we don't have that. But now that means that we've had the whole, now where it's fire nothing. So if the next one is firefighting, at the very least, I'm hoping it's a good firefighting.
It should be fire.
No, that's too much.
Fire flame.
I think it would be best if... What if they just stay the pure types throughout their entire evolutions? Just pure fire, pure grass, pure water.
I want to say yes, but I feel like that's going to suddenly make everyone not like him anymore.
Because people might see that as a downgrade.
But it'd still be like somewhat unique. Like Gen 2.
Yeah, and we all know how good Gen 2 did.
Hey, you better stop. You're on a... Totodale's the face of like everything we're doing here.
What about my boy Typhlosion? Where's he?
When Closer is on the podcast, he's Cyndaquil, so.
My boy hasn't seen the light of day in over 20 years.
Alright, that's what I want from Sword and Shield. Give us Megas for Gen 2. This year is it's the 20th anniversary of Pokemon Gold and Silver. Just give us the Megas for Gen 2.
I will ask for a rival, and that is all I want. No, a rival and a good enemy team. Because I could deal with handholding. I can deal with, maybe some Pokemon are disappointing. What I cannot deal with is no motivation, because that's my problem. Team Skull, as cool and as hip and as fresh as people will say they are, I had no ambition to stop them because it was literally just me thinking, okay, I'm going to be facing against some of the worst people ever. And then turns out they're a bunch of lazy 14-year-olds who just don't want to work or want to leave or want to do anything. So they just hang out together and pretend to be evil. Then you find Lucamine and the Aether Foundation. And I'm thinking, maybe it's like some evil organization. And it turns out they really are the whole Umbrella Corporation, experimenting on Pokemon and using them for their own devices. No, they just kind of collect Pokemon. Nothing evil there. Lucamine's evil, but it's more chaotic neutral than it is actual chaotic evil. She'll kidnap Pokemon and hold on to it, but it's not like she tortures them or is making mutations. She just kind of owns it like you would a bunch of figures. She just kind of wants them. But she neglects her kids. But it's not like she abuses them. She just kind of doesn't acknowledge them sometimes. That didn't really do anything for me. Freaking X and Y, Team Flare. We're going to goddamn wipe out most of existence using a literal death ray machine, and only the beautiful will survive. That got me going until the disappointing finale. When your enemy team isn't, we're going to remake the universe to make it better, or, we're going to make Pokemon lives matter. It is literally, if you're not with us, you, your family, your friends, and your Pokemon are going to die in a holy blaze. That's when I'm stepping in and like, yes, this is it. Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. That's when I'm like, okay, I will want that. If it just turns out, oi, Tossa, you stepped in our turf, I guess we're going to have to politely show you the door. I don't want that. I don't want just a random rival to just be, hey, maybe it's not so bad. Here, let me heal your Pokemon before the fight, and we'll see who's stronger, eh?
You gotta make a My Pokemon Evil Team video? Yeah, maybe. We're turning you into a Poketuber.
Me?
Yes.
I feel like I'd be the YouTuber who gets hated so I can make people like you liked.
No.
I will become the rival so that makes you look good by comparison. Blonde, anything else you want from, or Sword and Shield? Or Attack and Protect?
It's blank.
Blank, Blaze.
I'm going to call you Blonde. I'll make it fancy and just call you Blonde.
Blanc.
Well, just like I mentioned earlier, just make the fights more interesting to watch.
More interesting? But what more interesting than a Pokemon who headbutts whenever he does Solar Beam?
Like,
maybe it's coming from his forehead?
Like if the move animations are just kind of updated more so in a good way. I mean, I hate to get back to like Gen 5, but I really think Gen 5 had the best battle animation overall.
Well, we had sprites back then.
Oh yeah, but they're also like, I don't know, they felt more alive just in how much they moved, like comparatively to the models, I guess. But I don't know, maybe we'll chat more about that. Again, I'll link that. I'll try to link that video in the description. But for the most part, I guess that's all we've got for this episode of the GatorEX podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Anything else? Like, I mean, we already had the last thoughts, I guess, for the Sword and Shield. But anything else you guys want to leave off on?
I'm sorry if I offended some of you. No, I only do it to be the rival of this episode. And Gardevoir will remain top 7 because although she is a lot of people's nostalgic waifu, know that she's probably only there because of nostalgia. It's been like 10 years. We have others, like Mawile. She's short, but at the same time, that makes her easier to head pat.
She get 2 mouths in Mega Evolution.
More heads to pat.
All Pokemon are beautiful in their own way. Except with Mewtwo when he shows his teeth in the Pikachu movie. But other than that, yeah.
Perfect. All right. So anyway, this has been the GatorEX podcast, episode 8. Thank you guys so much for listening. Your support means so much. You can check out the previous episodes. Like I said, 2 weeks ago was me. Hashtag all by myself. But anyway, I mean, it's good to be back, guys. But anyway, this has been the GatorEX podcast. We'll see you next time.
Here's how the story goes. We find out by the treasure in the grand line. There's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing. I'll be king of the pirates. I'm gonna be king. Yago, yago, yago.